Hey Glitchmare family, it's me, your boy, and today we're diving into something a little different. If you've ever heard of the No, I'm Not Human horror game, you know exactly how creepy and mind-bending it is. I've been totally fascinated by it, and I couldn't resist crafting some stories based on that twisted world. If you guys like them, don't forget to hit that like button and let me know in the comments if you want to hear more. So grab your snacks, get cozy, and let's dive in.
The world was shifting around me, and I could feel it deep in my bones. I've never been the paranoid type. I'm not the kind of person who jumps at every little thing. But tonight felt different. It was almost like I was watching the world transform before my eyes, and I couldn't do a damn thing to stop it. The first strange thing I noticed was the way the streetlights flickered. It wasn't a normal flicker, like they were malfunctioning or needing a new bulb. It was off. The lights would blink on and off, and when they flickered back on, the shadows would stretch in weird angles, as though the light couldn't quite figure out where to go. I sat at the window, staring out into the darkened street, the sounds of the city muffled under the weight of something suffocating. The wind picked up, rustling the trees and making the leaves rustle in eerie whispers. It didn't take long for the first knock to come. 3 sharp raps on the door. I froze. My heart thudded in my chest. Who would be knocking at this hour? My first instinct was to ignore it, but something told me I couldn't. Something told me this was different, that whoever was at the door was not what they seemed. I slowly made my way to the door, keeping my footsteps as quiet as possible. As I peered through the peephole, I saw only darkness. No figure, no face, nothing. I waited. The knock never came again, but something about the silence felt wrong. It was too quiet. My gaze shifted back to the window, and that's when I saw it. The street was full of people, but they weren't walking normally. They shuffled, their heads down, as though they didn't know where they were going. Some of them stopped for a moment, staring at the buildings, their eyes too wide, too vacant. They didn't blink. The worst part? Their smiles. They weren't smiles at all. They were twisted, too wide, stretched beyond any human capacity. I couldn't look away. Suddenly, there was another knock on the door. This time, I didn't even approach the peephole. I didn't need to see who it was. My instincts screamed at me to stay away, to stay silent. "Are you alone?" came the voice, soft, almost too gentle. A voice that sounded like it belonged to someone I once knew, but I couldn't place it. I wasn't sure if it was even a voice at all. I didn't answer. From the corner of my eye, I saw movement outside the window. Something was standing at the edge of the sidewalk. I couldn't make out its features. It was too far away, but I could feel its eyes on me. Even from this distance, it felt as though it could see straight through me. The knock came again, this time a little louder, a little more insistent. "Please let me in," the voice whispered, so softly that I almost thought I imagined it, but I didn't dare open the door. I couldn't, not with the way the world outside was unraveling. I backed away from the door, my eyes glued to the window, watching as more figures began to gather in the street. They were all there now, standing motionless, staring at my house. Their faces, if you could even call them faces, were unsettling. No one smiled like that. No one's eyes were that wide. And that's when I saw it. One of them moved, slowly, jerking like a malfunctioning puppet, the limbs bending at unnatural angles. It was no longer a person, it was something else, something that shouldn't exist in the world I knew. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the window, even though every part of me screamed to look away, to hide, to run. But then another knock came, soft, hesitant. A child's knock. "Are you still there?" The voice came again, the same soft voice. "Can I come in?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My heart was racing, my breath shallow. I couldn't take my eyes off the figures in the street, and yet I felt a strange pull toward the door. Something was calling to me. Something wanted me to open it. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, but the knocking didn't stop. It came again and again. Every knock felt heavier than the last, like a weight pressing down on my chest. Finally, the voice came again, the tone shifting, becoming darker. "You know, you're not one of them." My pulse quickened. My fingers trembled, pressing against the window as I leaned in closer. One of the figures outside had taken a step forward, its head tilted at an impossible angle. Its face was split wide open in a grin that shouldn't belong to anything human. "Let me in," it whispered. "Let us in. We all belong here now." I backed away, panic rising in my throat. I couldn't breathe. The air was thick, suffocating. And then another knock, 3 sharp raps. The door swung open by itself, but I didn't move. I couldn't, because I knew I wasn't alone. Not anymore. The world outside wasn't mine anymore. It never was. And whatever was knocking at my door, whatever was out there, it knew that too. We found the rules in a dark corner of Reddit. Gather in the woods, draw slips of paper, and one of you isn't human. The not human has to convince the others that they belong, while everyone else tries to sniff them out. No real stakes, just paranoia and fun. At least, that's what we thought. There were 6 of us. Me, James, Riley, Kat, Connor, and Ava. We'd been camping together for years, always chasing some new thrill. This was supposed to be just another story to tell. We met at an old campsite deep in Blackwood Forest, miles from the nearest town. No cell service, no backup, just us and the game. We gathered around the fire, passing out the slips. My hands were clammy when I unfolded mine. Human. I looked up. Nobody reacted. One of us had the other slip. One of us wasn't human. The first round was easy. We asked stupid questions. What's your favorite movie? How do you like your coffee? What's your mom's maiden name? We laughed when someone hesitated too long. It was all in good fun. Until it wasn't. Riley was the first to go. She left to grab firewood and never came back. We searched, calling her name, but the dark swallowed our voices. Connor wanted to hike back to the cars, but James insisted we follow the rules. She's probably messing with us, he said, trying to freak us out. An hour passed, then another. We sat around the fire, silent. The game had changed. Ava was shaking. We should leave. We don't even know where Riley went, Kat shot back. What if she's lost? What if she isn't Riley? Connor muttered. Nobody spoke after that. The wind picked up, rustling the trees. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, flickering with the fire. Every so often, a twig snapped in the distance, and we all froze, listening, waiting. Then came the footsteps, slow, uneven, coming from the darkness beyond the trees. Riley? Kat called out hesitantly. No answer. The footsteps stopped just at the edge of the firelight. A figure stood there, barely visible between the trunks. It was the right shape, the right height, but something was wrong. The stance was off, like whoever it was didn't quite understand how to stand like a person. James stood up. Riley? Say something. Still nothing. Ava let out a small whimper. Kat grabbed a burning stick from the fire and held it up like a torch, stepping forward cautiously. The figure twitched, and then it smiled. Too wide. I grabbed Kat's wrist, yanking her back just as the fire flickered again, casting everything in deeper shadow. The figure took a single step forward, and the fire went out. Everything was swallowed by darkness. A scream tore through the night, followed by the sound of something moving too fast through the underbrush. I scrambled backward, my pulse pounding. Run! Branches slapped against my arms as we tore through the forest, blindly stumbling toward where we thought the cars were. Behind us, something crashed through the trees, the sound too jagged, too unnatural. A wet, guttural noise, like laughter, echoed through the woods. I risked a glance back. James wasn't running. He was just standing there, motionless, watching us go. His head tilted slightly, his grin still frozen in place. And then, impossibly, he started walking toward us, without moving his legs. I screamed, my breath ragged, and pushed forward harder. The darkness felt like it was closing in, wrapping around us like a living thing. We weren't supposed to be out there. We never should have played this game.
And that's a wrap for today's stories, Glitchmare family. I hope you enjoyed diving into the creepy world of No, I'm Not Human with me. If you want more, make sure to drop a like and let me know what you think in the comments. Your thoughts always mean so much to me. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss another creepy tale. Until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and remember, you're always welcome here.